Hey everyone, hope this finds you well. Happy New Year. I don't think I've checked in since New Year's. I checked in right before and made a little video collage of this past year, which if some of you saw it, it's kind of wild, right? It's been a really crazy year, but the new year is off to a pretty good start, very busy. That's why I haven't been able to check in, and I also think that I haven't really wanted to talk a lot in such a weird way. I'm not, normally I can chat about it, talk about it, but for some reason it's just not coming out as easy as it usually does, so it feels like more work than anything else. So that's probably why I haven't made a video in, I think, a month, you guys. So for those of you who've been holding on and patiently waiting, thank you. And just know that I have been okay. It's just been kind of busy and trying to do more things around the house before I head back to work next month. So where do I even begin? First, I'm coming at you with a really rashy face, which is why I have a hat on. To free up my life a little bit, my doctors have tried to put me on a double dose of Erbitex, which is the immunotherapy that I'm on, every 2 weeks instead of every week. Now, this is the one that gives me a rash on my face, typically, and the rest of my body. So, I was nervous about it because I pretty much always get some sort of a rash. And if it was on any other part of my body, I think I would be okay. I mean, I know I would, but it just really takes over my face. And I am trying to stay positive about it, but it is taken a good toll this time around. So I thought, well, let's try a double dose now before I go back to work, and I can choose whether or not to see people. And so we did, and the results are I'm getting pretty red and rashy. It's hard to tell on video, but they're tiny little bumps, and they have tiny little whiteheads on them all through my nose, in my nose, and all over my chin. So luckily enough, I've been blessed with good skin most of my life. I'd say that's the half Mexican in me, but yeah, I've had good skin, so this is very humbling, and it is also very frustrating because, again, if someone could tell me, like, don't eat dairy, don't eat sugar, don't eat gluten, because it's probably an allergy, that would be great. But instead, it's don't have cancer, so you don't get immunotherapy, so you don't get a rash. But I'm working through it, guys, if you can't tell. So besides that, in the beginning of the year, I got my PET scan results. And the good news is we're still shrinking the tumor, and my metabolic activity, so the cancer flowing through my body, is less than it was before. The hard part is it wasn't the results that we had the first PET scan, which were the miracle results, the miraculous, the holy shit results. I can't believe we did that results. And this time was not that. So, the wave is real. The cancer wave is so real. It's like 1 minute you're really high and the next minute you're low. And every PET scan brings on some sort of new fears and a new experience. And that was it. So, really, from somebody looking at my cancer, my situation, colon cancer in a whole, or any cancer for that matter, it's great when you can still shrink your tumors and have less metabolic activity overall. They consider stable and good news when your numbers stay the same. So again, stay stable or have a 25% increase. They consider those good results. So mine are still excellent. It's just I'm living with quite a bit more cancer in my body than anybody would like, and I still have a 12 centimeter tumor on my liver. So the one question with all of this that continues to come up, and I made sure I got all the answers and explanations for it, is why not do surgery? So what I'm learning through this is if you cannot go in and take it all, why go in at all? So my doctor explained to me that yes, there are cases of stage 4 colon cancer that you can go in, you can get the tumors to shrink. You do a little chemo before, you get the tumors to shrink down, and then you can surgically remove them. And then do maybe a little bit more chemo after, and hopefully you're good, and you're in remission, and hopefully you can stay in remission. Now, she kind of explained this to me, where my situation is a little different than other people that I know that have been through that. And when I went in, I had my tumor in my colon and the tumor on my liver. So it'd be nice if it was just those two spots. But I'm going to mess this word up. I know I am. And guys, I could be way off. But I feel like it's like peritoneal carcinoma something or another. And I could be way off. But what I'm essentially trying to say is that I had ascites fluid and a bunch of tiny tumors throughout my abdomen, as well as the one on my colon and the big, large one on my liver. So there were cancerous spots that aren't there now, and which is great. And I no longer have the ascites fluid, which is great, which is just a cancerous fluid distributing it throughout my entire abdomen, and luckily it didn't go into my lungs. So again, we don't know where those tumors once were because they're so tiny and microscopic. And again, I had cancer all throughout my abdomen. So why compromise my body and go in and get the tumors that are there if they can't get it all? And essentially what they're telling me is that it's really hard to tell where it all was or possibly still is. So that makes sense. What also I had explained more to me is that, and my nurse kind of went out on a limb and gave me a percentage of, 95% of stage 4 colon cancers you don't typically operate on, because again, it has spread to other major organs. And I'm going to keep saying it, if you can't get it all, why go in at all? Because surgery is a big deal, and especially for me and people in my situation where I've been on chemo for 8 months, so my body is not healthy on the inside, as you can tell through my skin. It's not what it was before. So right now, if they went in and had surgery, it'd be really too risky because my body might not recover like they would want it to. So also, it also was explained to me that when you remove a tumor that still has cancer activity running through it, there's these bunch of tiny little cancer cells, microscopic, that when they take out the tumor, those little cells are going to spread. They could spread to another organ or another part of the body that I don't currently have cancer in, which made sense. And then I also had it explained to me that, Meg, your liver is a major organ and it supplies function to most every other part of your body. So when you cut out this tumor and you start cutting off blood supply to these other organs, there's only hope that it will heal and mend back together to continue to support the rest of your body. So again, surgery is just still too risky. For a tumor in my colon that is not bothering me, thankfully, and a 12 centimeter tumor on my liver that if essentially it becomes cancer, like it's no longer has metabolic activity running through it, then, and it's not causing me any harm, that essentially I could live with a lesion on my tumor for the rest of my life. So I hope most of that made sense, and I hope anybody from the medical field that's watching that doesn't come at me too hard with my statistics and my explanations, but this is my version of what's happening, I guess, and the Megan breakdown. And hopefully it makes more sense for all of you that are watching that don't know anything about cancer and the human body, because I really don't know much. So, with all that being said, I am now on still less chemo than I was before. There is this pill Zolota that's waiting in the wings, essentially that hopefully I won't have to go on, because the irinotecan chemo that I'm on and the immunotherapy Erbitux will be enough to maybe slowly take down my CEA, my tumor markers, or slowly take down this tumor. I am hoping that that's enough. And for me, what that tells me is that I have had to pick up my holistic side of things and really take them more serious than I was before. And so I'm very hopeful that I won't have to get on the Zolota pill, because I can keep it at bay holistically. Sorry, the baby's crying in the background. Well, not the baby, the older baby, Barker. My Aunt Janet's here, and she's helping us with the kids and us. She takes such good care of us. Everybody takes care of us as well when they're here. So yeah, she's here with the girls. So it's not like my daughter's crying in the background and I'm doing nothing about it. Just wanted to let you guys know. What else? So with the holistic stuff. So again, hopefully the irinotecan and Erbitux is enough. It still knocks me out pretty good. I had an unexpected round of chemo last week, this past Monday. I thought that I was on an every 3-week program on the Zolota plan, even though I'm not on Zolota yet. But I think I am still every 2 weeks with the Erbitux plan, so I get irinotecan as well. So I went into chemo, and they were like, "Okay, well we're gonna do double dose today in chemo," and I was like, "We are?" And so everybody did their talking and figuring it out and figuring out where our lines got crossed, and I got chemo on Monday, and my nurse was like, "Okay, are you okay with that?" And I said, "Yep." I was like, "But I'm going to have to drop a tear at some point." And she was like, "You can cry, Meg." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, thank God I wore a hat that day, because I put my hat down, and she's like, "You mentally prepare yourself for this." And I was like, yeah, I wonder if there's anybody out there that doesn't mentally prepare themselves the night before, the morning before, the week before, however long, that you're going to have chemo, because you got to mentally trick yourself into thinking everything's going to be all right, because it always is, but it is really hard. I get knocked down still Tuesday. I can't really get out of bed much. Wednesday I start to feel a little better, and then Thursdays I recover much quicker. So for that I am thankful. And I'm even more thankful that I can recover quickly, because next month, well, I guess I'm approaching 3 weeks, I start my comeback tour, I guess you could say. I am going to go back to work February 12th, which is my birthday. I'll be 36, y'all. Still feeling young. At times I feel really old with this stupid cancer. But yeah, I go back to work on the 12th, maybe sooner. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, a lot of people are like, "I can't believe you have to go back to work." And I'm lucky to have the insurance that I do and be a part of the union like I am, and because without it, I don't know that, again, I would be here. But with that being said, I need to work so many hours every 6 months to keep up my insurance. And there is long-term disability that I could go on, but that wouldn't really support our family. But more importantly, I think I have to start looking at life with cancer. You know, this is going to be a beast, and it's not going to just disappear overnight, which I kind of hoped it would. But you know, the only way to know if I can work again and keep this tumor down and the cancer activity run, you know, less and less throughout my body, is to just try. So luckily, I work with a bunch of really incredible people, and I know that I will be in a safe space when I go back, and that's the most important part. And yeah, you know, we're just gonna try and build up our family around it and see what that looks like, you guys. I was really scared for a while and was, you know, fearful of it. And I've been working through a lot of fear this past month, specifically. And my husband, you know, Kirk said, you know, I think you're looking at this all wrong, you know, and he writes a fine line sometimes when he tells me I'm wrong. But he was absolutely right. He was like, you need to look at this as getting a piece of yourself back. And once he said that, immediately my mentality shifted, and it's like, you're right. I will get a piece of myself back. And I do remember saying when I was working with you know, a kid at home, and now two. I mean, I only worked 10 days this past year while having two children. So this will be an adjustment for not only me, but for Kirk as well. But I, oh, there goes chemo brain. It was here and then it left. Oh, I was saying that I remember saying before while I was working and with one kid at home that sometimes going to work is much easier than being at home. So we'll see, you know, maybe it will be, and maybe it'll be a little bit of time to myself and more time to work on some more healings for myself and the holistic side of things. And yeah, so I'm hopeful. I look at it one day at a time. You know, usually what I used to do is plan my life out. I could see my life 6 months out, you know, with work or something, and I would be like, okay, childcare here, there, you know, a trip maybe, and Kirk's work and my work, and I can't spend too much time in the future, because when I do, I get really, really scared. And again, you guys, I've been working a lot on moving past fear. And it's weird that it's coming up 8 months later instead of maybe when it first happened. Yeah, I was fearful, but I'm looking at a different round of fears maybe. But I got some really good advice, and maybe this will help some of you, or maybe some of you have already heard this, but fear can't live in the present day. It can live in the past, and it can live in the future. So essentially, if I'm living, you know, one day at a time, what I'm fearful of today would be probably different tomorrow. But once I start thinking about the past, and even just relating it to the past 8, you know, months, like, a lot of that was scary. And if I hold on to those thoughts, then it just builds up all this fear. And if I look towards the future and I'm looking at the what ifs, like, that freaks me out as well. So I just have to take it one day at a time. And there's a lot of joy in that too. There's a lot of peace and a really appreciation for life itself. So I am finding a lot of joy in that. So with all of that being said, I'm sure there's so many more things to talk about. Holistically, I should do another check-in to tell you guys all what I'm doing that is in addition to what I was doing before. I am doing I'm using a hyperbaric chamber to breathe in the purest form of oxygen at the most optimal level. I am starting to do an ozone therapy, and I am administering that through other areas of my body. I'll talk more about that later because I'm still working on that. and continuing with my diet and red light therapy and supplements and trying to get into a little bit more of a meditative state. And yeah, grounding, sunlight, trying to get in that every day as well. So some of my doctors would prefer me to be outside of my bikini for 20 minutes a day, no sunscreen at noon. And where I get the most sun at that time is in our front yard. So I haven't really yet put on my bikini yet to do that. But who knows? Maybe I'll say fuck it soon and y'all can come by and I'll be in my bikini at noon for 20 minutes in the day. You guys, I am so thankful that I have all of you watching, because it does, it gives me a lot of hope, and it gives me a lot worth living for. I hope that I am helping some of you by keeping it real, as transparent as it comes. It's just sometimes I'm more willing to talk about the personal things than others. So I'm working on some big things over here. I can't wait to share with you all soon. And wish me luck. I'm going back to work and, again, looking at living life with cancer. Hopefully not forever. I hope to live forever, but not with cancer. But I'm willing to do that if that's what it takes. So hope this finds everybody well. I hope that you all feel updated. And again, thanks for watching, because I feel like I have smiled a lot more in the last 21, 22 minutes than I have in a couple days. So I love you all. I feel you all. I see you all. Again, I'll take all the love and prayers and luck I can get for this rash and my face and for work and the family and all of this. But I will also do the same for you. So love, beats all.